I'm not proud to be a Quebecer when Quebec received equalization money. And what I said in Regina and in Saint Jean this week, I said we need the right economic policies for the unity of our country. And that one about pipeline, it's an important one. And the other one, it's about equalization. People in Western Canada, they are fed up to give money to Quebec, my own province. They're sending money for the equalization formula because, as you know, Quebec is a poor province. And I said 5 years ago that I'm not proud to be a Quebecer when Quebec received equalization money. The goal must be for Quebec to receive zero money from the equalization formula because Quebec would be a rich province. And you know, that formula, it is unfair and inefficient because my own province in Quebec received equalization money for the last 50 years. So it's a kind of a poverty trap. There's no incentive for Quebec or other province like Nova Scotia, like New Brunswick, to develop their own natural resources because if they have a strong private sector, they will receive less money from the equalization formula. So we need to change that, and we need to have a debate. You know, and I want Quebec to be a rich province. I want Nova Scotia to be a rich province. I want New Brunswick to be a rich province. And I was very, very pleased and very proud to hear the Premier of New Brunswick when he said the federal government must give less money from the equalization to my province because that will give an incentive to us to develop our private sector and having more free market policies at the provincial level. It's very courageous for me, and I did an interview this morning with a radio show, and they asked Maxime, you're going to come to Nova Scotia and you're going to tell them that you'll cut a little bit the money from the equalization formula, and you think that you want to have some votes in Nova Scotia? Are you a little bit, I said, no. You know, we'll do that on a transition period. We'll have a discussion with everybody, and we'll give them the right incentive to develop their natural resources and the private sector in their province. So I think we can have that conversation. And I'm having that conversation, and it's time to act. But we won't cut the transfer from, I don't know, 100% to 0%. We will do that after discussion with them and tell them, you know, you need to develop your own private sector and having the right policies at the provincial level. But also, what I will do to help Nova Scotian and to help your province, we need to have a real economic union in this country. And it is a shame that after 152 years, we don't have an economic union in Canada. That was the goal of the fathers of our Constitution, to create an economic union in this country. That was their goal in 1867. And so we don't have that. We don't have that because we have a weak government in Ottawa that doesn't want to use the constitutional power to be sure that we have a free trade in Canada. And that will help you here in Halifax because you have a small market. You have a very small market. And I want you to have some economy of scale and being able to send your goods and your products outside Atlantic Canada, in Canada, without any tariff, without any quota. That will help you more than anything, more freedom of choice. And you know, I want you also, if you want to buy a beer in New Brunswick and bring that here. And that's a real cause for your economy. I've read a study, and they were saying that it's a loss of 7.6% of GDP every year because we don't have a real free trade in Canada. That's hurting you right now here. So what we will do, we will use the Constitution. The Constitution is really well done, well written. We'll use the Constitution, and there's a section there, section 91.2, trade and commerce. Trade and commerce, it is the responsibility of the federal government. Right. So yes, we can use the Constitution and bring into court provinces that don't respect the Constitution for being sure that we have a real free trade in Canada, because we cannot count on provinces to do that. We try, and they try to negotiate, and I must admit that the worst one, the province who put the more barriers, that's my own province in Quebec. So, but they have a new government there, and I hope that the new government will do something, but if not, it's too important. A real free trade in Canada that will help Atlantic Canada the most. Pipelines in Canada, that's important. A review of the equalization formula, that's important. Bravo. And like that, we'll build a freer and more prosperous country. If you look at the federal budget, there's a lot of departments. But there's a department who is in charge of giving subsidies to businesses. To GM, we gave more than $2 billion to the GM. Bail out GM. No more bailout under a PPC government. No more bailout of Bombardier. Because it is not fair. It is not fair to tax a small business entrepreneur here in Halifax and forcing him to pay taxes, and after that giving that to GM and Bombardier. Right. It is not fair. Because I'm sure that business people here in Nova Scotia or in Canada, the huge majority of them won't receive a subsidies of $1 million or $2 million. So the fair policy, it is to abolish that, to save $5 billion, and to use that money to have a flat tax for entrepreneurs at 10%. That will help every because these agencies is giving these subsidies to big business and other businesses, it's a way for politicians to buy vote. And we have one in Quebec, there's one in Western Canada, there's one agency also in Ontario, one in Atlantic Canada. So we can save a lot of money by abolishing these agencies, using the saving to help everybody. And I think that's the only way for a business to be competitive. And actually, that's not a radical policy, because I look to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. They represent the small business entrepreneur, and they're doing survey every year. What is the most important for small business entrepreneur, for businesses in Canada? And at the top of the list, every year, they are asking the government to cut subsidies and corporate welfare. Yeah. That's them. They ask that to the federal government because they're proud and they want a fair policy. And at the same time, they ask the federal government to cut the red tape, the regulation. So we need to do that, and we'll be more competitive. And if we look what happened in the state with President Trump, he changed the tax system over there. They're more competitive, and now because we have a tax system that is not competitive anymore, taxing Canadian consumers, taxing all Canadians and the businesses too high, and they're paying a big price for that. The investment is going to the US, and we have less foreign investment in Canada. So we need to change that. We need to have the right policy. And I'm very happy that, I'm speaking about that because I asked Andrew Scheer when I decided to quit the Conservative Party because they're intellectually corrupt. And I'm telling you why. Because I said to Andrew, so do you want to take one of these policies and put that in front, in your platform for the next campaign? And before I resigned, 10 days before I resigned, he told me on the phone that no, he won't take any of our policies because they're too bold. And they need to do some polling and focus group to know if these policies are proper.
Because he's a coward.
Yeah, so I said, I don't have any time to waste. I have two choices, to go back in the private sector or to stay in politics and fight for what I believe, for what we believe, more freedom of choice, less government, a limited government in Ottawa, and a government that will respect our Constitution. Yeah.